anyways, back to the episode. I think you were starting to mention a little bit about, what we have been planning these last few weeks. In an effort, like you were saying, to build community, to create spaces where we can be present as well as take a moment to connect with other people. We had talked about this a few weeks ago. I was like, Michelle, I would like for us to put some sort of workshop together where we bring in some sort of movement practice, whether it was going to be yoga. I found a Tai Chi instructor, and I randomly came across this post from one of the instructors of this program I'd never heard of before, but it's called Find My Wyld. And she mentioned that it was a practice of bringing dance and meditation together. And I was like, Michelle, that same night, I messaged her and I messaged Michelle and I was like, we're gonna do this. We're gonna do this. It sounds like it's in alignment with what we were talking about, bringing moments of ground yourself, moments to connect with your body and move your body. So we're going to put that together this Saturday. We're bringing in right now, we're thinking 15 to 20 people, which we're really excited for people that show up, because most of them are people we don't really know. We're hoping to expand to people that resonate with this movement, with this idea of connecting with yourself more. So we're super excited, and we thought we could share a little bit about what the program is. I'm now thinking we should have interviewed her.
We should have, yeah.
Maybe we'll bring Karri in for an interview post the program this Saturday. But we met with her earlier today to talk about how the day is going to look like, what our ideas are, and we want to share a little bit about that and our intention. And we'll debrief as well once we're post the event, so maybe next week we'll talk about it as well in this podcast.
Yeah, I think so. I think that'll be I'm excited for it. It's going to be an amazing experience. I'm all open for all new experiences. Clearly, we have all aligned, and I'm ready. I'm ready for it. So yeah. Like I mentioned earlier, it's gonna open so many other doors. It's gonna bring us closer to the type of people that we want to be surrounded with, and I'm excited to meet our people.
Yeah, and I had the opportunity to attend one of the classes beforehand.
That's right.
This is when you went to your trip. This is all, we've been mentioning this, right? This is all out of our comfort zone. So when I went there, I was the only person there. It was the beginning of the class. I like to be, on time. So I arrived there and I was like, oh, it's only me and the instructor. But, I had already talked to her, so that was okay. But I can move, but I don't have, I don't want to say it's not rhythm, but I lose track a lot.
Coordination.
Coordination, there you go, that's the word, coordination. I don't have that much coordination, and that's just something I've struggled with. Coordination and balance. It was welcoming, even though it was a one-on-one, it's still out of my comfort, it's even more out of my comfort zone. I think you and I have talked about how, for me, when there's a little bit of people, it's harder because then I know they can see me.
Yeah.
And then you shared that it's easier for you when there's a lot of people because you feel like you can get lost in the crowd.
Yes. Yeah.
So it was challenging my shit, right? You don't want to be seen, nah, girl, you gotta put yourself out there. So I was really nervous and worried about not keeping up because again, I don't have coordination. But it kind of reminded me a little bit of line dancing.
Oh, yeah.
Those types of steps where they're trying to teach you 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. And they bring in different movements, you know, depending on the song. If it's like they had a upbeat country song, and they had a Taylor Swift song, so they just have like different types of music, and you move at different beats. And so I found myself struggling, right, because I couldn't keep up with the steps. But I just kept trying it over, because we kept doing the steps together, and because I was the only one that was new, they were like mindful of trying to teach me how to do it too. But I found myself like, one, connecting with my body, like, oh shit, I didn't know I could like spin and jump at the same time type of shit, you know, like, yeah, you think you know you could do that, but like how often do you actually do that, right? Where you like spin and jump around, or like you jump high and like in the middle of a dance, and I was like, oh, like, wow, like that was a new type of movement to my body that, you know, made me realize like, oh, I'm in a body. Like, I'm not just like moving, right? Like my body is moving in a certain way that I want it to. And I think that is something that not a lot of us get a chance to do, right? To like take that moment to jump around, to spin around, to try new things. So I'm hoping that like this is something that people want to do. Afterwards, we did a little, I think she said it's a 3-minute meditation where we just sat with our breath post this dancing performance that you just did, and you just unwind a little bit and realize like, wow, like I just did that, right? Like I just spun around and jumped and put my knees high and turned around this way, and it's like you feel it in your body. And I'm excited to have that, to offer that to more people, and give them this opportunity to connect with themselves. So that's what the purpose of this event is about. It's about creating these opportunities, these spaces.
Yeah, just connecting with themselves. Like you said, you're like, oh, my body, I didn't realize that I could do this, you know. And that's a sign that we don't use certain muscles. You know, we have all these different kinds of muscles in our bodies, but we don't use them on a daily basis. So it's very important for us to take care of ourselves, you know, and do something for ourselves that's different and out of our comfort zone, to be able to reconnect with our bodies and realize that our bodies are capable of so much.
I get why she says it's hard to talk about, because how do you tell people that like new pathways are going to be created in their brain, right?
Yeah.
Like that that the neuroplasticity of your brain, that you can do new things and it creates a new pathway in your brain, and it keeps your brain young. You know, like it keeps it like on its toes. It's a new way to like exercise your brain, not just physically, but to exercise your brain. And that's why I'm like, it's hard to explain, but I felt that. I felt that in that practice. That's why I mentioned like, oh, I didn't know I could do that. I felt it in my brain, where I did it the first time, and then the second time it became easier, and then the third time it was like I knew how to do it. And so it's also a way to keep ourselves, you know, not just physically well, but mentally well, where our brains are actually like being exercised with the choreography, because it's not just like a dance. It's like trying to bring in like, you move freely, because like I said, I didn't know the steps, so I was just making them up. But I tried to keep up with their steps, and that brain connection of like, oh, 1, 2, 3 spin is something that like in your brain, like you're practicing it, you're reminding it, oh yeah, like my brain controls my body.
Well, it's like you mentioned, like we were talking earlier with Karri, it's like a kid, like these kids are building these neural pathways when they're learning how to walk, how to hold things, how to eat, how to hold things, like put the food in their mouth.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
they're building these neural connections with our bodies, you know. So it's just like learning new movements. It's like motor skills. I can't, sensory motor.
Yeah.
You know, and it's the same way. Like we think that, I hate that saying that says old dogs can't learn new tricks. You know.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, that's not true. Like, I'm pretty sure they can. You just have to be very motivated, you know, to want to learn new things and open to it. And it is, like, she mentioned that there was a study that was made that you do build new connections in your brain, new neurons. And they've said that about, like, even with learning a new language, people who know more than one language, I guess it reduces their risk of getting like Alzheimer's. And I know that there's other things that you can do that reduce the ability to, reduces the risk of getting Alzheimer's or dementia or something like that. I'm not 100% sure. But
no,
I'm pretty sure it's
that was
which one it was,
And we can share some of that content as well that we've been learning about. But it is that is some of the research that they've been doing. So the more that we can try new ways, new things, I think not only will we like feel spiritually good, because it's good for your spirit when you do stuff like that.
It really is.
It refreshes you, but it's also like a new practice that you're like helping your body continue to learn, you know, and not just go down the same path. You know, you're trying new things and learning new things. So we're gonna close it out. We just wanted to share about what's coming up. What this is becoming. This podcast is becoming a real community where we're bringing people together, complete strangers, which is so exciting to us.
Okay.
Thank you for listening to Root Feelings. Bye.
We're always so awkward about it too.
Bye.